Hey there, I'm Claudia Lash, and I have a couple of patterns featuring turtles. Here is one of my patterns. This is the biggest quilt. This is called Tagalong Turtles, and I thought some of you that either use a scan and cut or some sort of a cutting machine might wonder how, now I cut these by hand with scissors, and you can do that. But there's a lot of people now that have the cutting machines, and I thought maybe it would help you to know what I do to get mine ready if I'm going to use a cutting machine. So each of these turtles has a shell, legs, head, legs, and then an inside oval. So they are fused. The first thing you have to have, or I have to have, is a shell. And the shell has to have some fusible on the back. Before I put the fusible on the back, what I usually do is I use Terrio Magic, which will give your fabric a little bit more stiffness. I mean, you could, they tell me, you know, you can eat this stuff. It's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to draw bugs, nothing like that. But it sort of makes your fabric a little stiffer. So my first job when I'm making a bunch of turtles, either for a turtle quilt or to take to shows to put in a turtle bag, is I take my fabric and I wet it really well with the Terrio Magic. And then I'm going to take it in the other room and I'll show you steps. So this is step one. Find your fabric, cut it into hunks as big as you need, and then get it wet with the Terrio Magic. Now I've got to show you how we dry this little piece of fabric. I very rarely would want to video in my bathroom, but the bathroom has what I need. It has some towel racks, and as you can see, I have a few pieces of fabric that I have already put Terrio Magic on, and now and all you need to do is, all I want to do is dry it for a little bit, and then we will move on to the next step. Okay, we are ready for the next part of making turtles. All of the fabrics that I so nicely covered with Terrio Magic and let dry, I put them under the iron and I press them so they're just like they've been starched. That's what they feel like. And look, I'm going to have such pretty little bright pink turtles. Orange, blue, and all sorts of fun things. So, these are ready. The next part is to put on your fusible. And my favorite fusible is Steam 2 Light. I like it because it's repositionable if necessary. It's also just much easier to work with. So I have some right here. And when I put it on the back side, and if you can tell the back side, some batiks are rather hard to tell. And I'm going to make kind of a big section here. You will probably only be wanting to make one blue turtle. I'm sure you don't want to make 3 of the same color blue turtle. That would be too boring. But I need more than one. So I pull the back off of my Steam 2 Light, and I'm going to put it on my fabric relatively. I've cut this fabric big enough so that it will cover the turtles laying this way. Let me show you. And I just lay it down on a mat or something and sort of generally measure. I want it big enough so that I can do the turtles. And I press it down with my hands and then use my iron. I have learned to turn the iron down from regular, like highest heat for cotton. I turn it down to wool heat, wool temperature, and then just press this down. Sometimes I press it on both sides. it depends. If you have a batik, this usually presses very nicely. If you have too much heat sometimes, and it's a non-batik fabric, you have to watch. It can not press as nicely. And now I could take this and take it right into the machine. But when we cut on the machine, if we have too much extra on the outside, we might cut a place where there's no fusible. So I take it to my cutting table and just use a ruler and cut it as close as I can to the edge, so that when the cutter is ready to cut, hopefully he can put it in the machine and cut 1, 2, and our machine isn't that big, so he'll cut this off and then cut another one out of that section. So I should be able to get 3 turtle shells out of this one blue fabric that's got the steam seam on it. We'll see. We'll move on to the next step in just a moment. This is my scan and cutter partner, and he does a really nice job using the scan and cut. What he's doing right now is putting the fabric onto the mat, and he's going to stick it in the machine. And every machine is different. We have a scan and cut, an older model, but if you have a similar machine, this will help. If you have any questions, you can contact. Well, there's lots of videos about scan and cut. And there's other machines, so make sure and follow your directions for your machine. Anything else to add to that?
No, it looks like it's ready to go.
Okay. So he stuck it in there. He usually does a little test cut. I don't know if he's going to do a test cut today.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
One turtle, 2 turtles, and I'll peel one up here.
The inside parts of the turtle are not really used in the quilt, but I have him save those. And then I think they would make pretty little flowers if you use lots of different colors together. Don't you think they kind of look like little flowers? So we have 2 turtles all ready to go. They have the fusible on the back. And so they are ready to press down onto a background fabric, and well, and for me, they're going to be either put into kits or put into the turtle in the bags. But this is the only part, well, this part needs fusible on the back, and the legs need fusible. But the piece that goes inside doesn't get any fusible, so that's kind of nice. Thank you, Mr. Cutter.
Oh, the pleasure was all mine.